Hello and welcome to another episode of Friday Night Knits. I'm filming in a different location in my yarn room today. Hopefully the lighting will work and the setup will work for this particular episode. Today we are just going to have a quick check-in before I say goodnight, because I do have a couple of plans for this weekend and I'm hoping that I would feel well enough to actually do all those plans. So let me get you caught up. A lot of things have been going on. My son got sick, then my husband got sick, and now I am on the tail end, hopefully, of what my husband had. So the sickness has not allowed for a lot of knitting. I have not felt the motivation to do so because taking care of everyone else has kept me from doing different projects. But I did make some progress on one of my projects, and it's not a lot. So with that said, let me just grab the first one. So I went to Target and I saw this and I was like, oh, this would be pretty cool to use in my yarn room when my projects get so big or overwhelming, and I need like another space to keep my items in. I love using baskets and I didn't have any empty ones. So I'm keeping my sweater number 19 there. And as you can see, I have one sleeve finished. So I'm really excited. I'm about to bring, oh, maybe if I do it this way. So as you can see, one sleeve is completed. One thing I did notice is that I made a huge boo-boo on the second sleeve that's going to lead to me frogging it. So I'm actually going to do it right now on camera because otherwise I never will do it. I picked up too many stitches. I actually picked up 20 more stitches than what I was supposed to. And I didn't realize it until I finished the third round of cabling. So I made a conscious decision last night that I was going to go ahead and just frog the sleeve and pick up stitches again so that way I can do it right, because I really want the sweater to be something I have as a long term, and I don't want to, for lack of a better phrase, half-ass it. I want to do a good job with it. So I'm going to go ahead and frog it as we're chit-chatting about it. Not much to tell. It's coming along really well. I'm really glad that I'm sticking to my expectations for this pattern. For sweater number 15, I decided not to rush it. I had hoped to have it finished by February 2nd, but realizing that it's not going to meet that particular deadline, so I decided just to let it go. And then I'm just going to make sure that this is going to come out the way I want it to look, not necessarily rush and complete something so I can have the product. And I'm glad I'm doing that. In addition, I injured my index finger. I'm a flicker when I knit, and I had noticed that I was having some pain on the side of my index finger towards my knuckle. And I'm like, oh, that's odd. And I, tried icing it, tried resting it, and it didn't help. So finally I was like, you know what? I'm just going to get a splint and put my finger in a splint and see if that helps, because I had this similar pain earlier in the summer. It was more in my joint up here, here in my knuckle. But fortunately, I was able to alleviate that discomfort. So I am glad about that. So with all that said, I am now feeling much better, and I am able to knit without any issue. However, I have been doing more continental knitting, there it is, of late, because I don't want to re-injure my finger. So that's all to say about this particular project. It will definitely be done, I would say, by the end of February. I know I need to do at least 5 cables on the body because I don't really like crop sweaters. And the last time I made my favorite knitwear design, I follow the pattern directions for the body length, and it wasn't long enough for me, so I ended up having to give it to my niece. So I wanted to make the arms the length that I wanted to, and the arms are definitely reaching that. And this is before blocking it. And I know once I block it, it's going to grow. So with all that said, I'm going to add 5 more cables to the body after I finish the sleeves. And I'm so close. I know if I just actively monogamously, if I was a monogamous knitter for this particular project, I'm 99% certain it would have been done. But I have not been feeling that need to stick to one project. I've been wanting to try different items, and also just doing whatever my heart content. Plus, I didn't want to cause any issue to my fingers or hands. And with the kind of weather that we've been having lately, this is definitely the time of year where I feel like my joints aching a little bit more. I deal with inflammation from time to time, and I have a mild case of arthritis as well. And so just don't want to like aggravate my body. I want to keep it nice and healthy so that way I can keep knitting and knitting and knitting and doing some more knitting. So that's all to say about sweater number 15. Again, this is a project I've been working on for 2 months now. I started it in December, early December. I planned to start it in November. And when I say plan to start it, I mean plan to start an all over cable sweater in November. But I finally put this particular sweater on the needles. This pattern was gifted to me, and I literally just randomly came across it in my folder of patterns, and I'm like, oh, this will be the all over cable pattern to do. So that's what I'm doing. I'm almost done frogging it. It's a little hard to do frogging, I'm not gonna lie. You put so much time and energy to something, and it takes minutes in order to frog something. But you know what? I think Arnie and Carlos has said this. It just, whenever you do frog something, it just gives you more time with the knitting. And I definitely will agree with that, because I do enjoy the process of knitting as well. The product is something I enjoy, but I find that I enjoy the process of knitting more so than anything. So the sleeve is now fully frogged, and it is ready for me to cast on again. So why am I putting this here? So I'll put it back in there. All right. Excuse me. The second project that I've been working on, that I've made some progress on in the last time I spoke about it, are the socks I cast on for my husband. Let's see if I can get this back on the needles. I don't know which needle this was on. There we go. This is another sock pattern out of the Summerlee's sock project book. The name of it escapes me. I will make sure I put the pattern name on the screen so that way you can see, and plus the pattern description will be obviously in the name of the pattern. Here we go. The name of the pattern will be in the description, so you can check it out there. But I've been working on this particular project for a couple of weeks now. Not much progress has been made. I'm working on the heel. This is going to be a pair of ankle socks for him, and I'm using Mayak's. Let me read the label. This is Mayak's. It's Mayak. Here, I'll get a little closer. Hopefully you can see that. This is their Baby Yak organic cotton. This has 50% baby yak and 50% organic cotton. This is considered to be a light fingering, and for every 25 grams, you get 127 yards. I'm not too sure where I bought this. Yes, I am. I bought this at the Woolen Fair during my first time going to Rhinebeck, and I got this particular skein of yarn for 16 bucks. And so it's like a charcoal color. It's really pretty. And it's working up quite nicely. Definitely something I think he's going to enjoy, because he prefers cotton for his socks over anything. And hopefully it will survive the torture that he has a habit of putting his materials in. I decided just to do the foot, or the heel I should say, in the main color. I was going to do it in the color I used to cast on, but I forgot. So for the one sock, it will have the right heel, and the other sock will have, when I say the right heel, like the right yarn, and then the other sock I will use more the nylon. So we'll see if I end up sticking to this expectation. I like it so far. It's coming along pretty well. I'm actually almost finished with the heel. I think this is the last row, if I remember correctly. It looks like it. For the heel I did for this particular sock, it is called the Shadow Wrap Heel. And it's not the heel that the pattern calls for, but it is my preferred heel, especially given the fact that I feel like a real beginner when it comes down to doing socks, and so I prefer to use the heel I'm most accustomed to until I feel a little bit more comfortable with the construction of socks. So I'm going to stick to my Shadow Wrap heel so that way I can continue to knit that. But for the most part, it's been moving along really well. It's a very easy pattern to memorize. I've been really enjoying the experience of knitting it. So I am excited that to cast on the second one, because I definitely don't see myself having second sock syndrome with this particular sock, because it is definitely, it's engaging. The only reason why I haven't made more progress on it is because, as I said before, I've been feeling a little ill and just not really feeling up to knitting as much as I usually do. With this particular sock, in addition to using Mayak as a main color, this is just some leftover yarn that I found in my collection. I believe it's a fingering weight yarn that it came with my Harlem Renaissance yarn I purchased last year, but I'm not 100% sure, but I think that's where it came from. In addition, sorry, I'm sniffling. As I said, I'm still dealing with the final version of this particular cold / mild case of flu. I'm also using my twice shear sheep, what is it, row counter. I find this to be really helpful. It's a little harder to use with socks, or at least with the way I do socks, because I use magic loop. So I don't know if that's the reason why. I feel like there's mohair touching my face. Video. But yeah, it's working along. What I'm doing is just switching what row I'm on using a stitch marker. It helps me remember, because like I said, the pattern is definitely easy to memorize, so I'm not really using it as a reference as much, but it's coming along really well and really am enjoying it, and can't wait to see the finished product of it. As soon as I finish with the foot, I'm going to go ahead and pause and go ahead and cast on for the second sock, so that way I can be on the same page. So that's all I have to say about this. Again, this is a sock pattern that I pulled from the Sock Project book by Summer Lee. The name of the pattern will be listed in the description, and again, hopefully I was able to add it to the screen, but it's definitely going to be in the description. The project is living in my Black Pearl Magic, my Black Pearl Magic bag that I had Shayla sign when I was at Indie Untangled this year. So that's it about that project. And the last project to give you an update on, because my throw over and shift again, zero progress on those. I haven't touched those two projects in 2 weeks. It's my Stella cushion. So I'm so proud of myself. Here she is. Oh, she looks so good. I can't believe I'm doing this. This is hard, but not. I am enjoying this pattern so much, and I'm so glad I have stuck with it, because I have made several mistakes along the way, and nothing where it's deterred me from the pattern, because sometimes when you make a mistake knitting or crocheting something, you lose the momentum to keep going with it, and this is not one of those patterns. Now I'm just like, I feel this need to conquer it, and not only that, I also want to cast on another version of this cushion. Like, I cannot wait to do more and more and more, because it is definitely very engaging. It's fun, and I don't know, I'm just having fun with it. I'm really curious what the final design is going to look like. As I said before, I've never done anything like this, and I am hopeful. So this is like a modular type pattern. I have definitely, as I said before, made mistakes. Like, I don't know if you can tell, I did too many, there's way too many stitches on this particular triangle, but I made it work to fit in. And whereas this one fits perfectly, the first row is probably where my best work has been done. When I do this project again, it's not a if, it's definitely a when, because I see this, I have a habit of gift knitting like hats and gloves and whatnot. And I will continue to do that, but for like specialty gifts for folks such as those who are like about to have a baby, or someone is moving into a new home, I would love to give them a cushion, handmade by me. And if this is one of those projects that if I were to do this again, it would be like a weekend project where I would start it on a Friday, especially if it's a long weekend. I will start it on a Friday and finish it on a Monday that I'll have off, so that way I can be consistent in my knitting of these squares. With this one, it's definitely been something I've been picking up and putting down, and I think that's one of the reasons why there's been some inconsistencies with some parts of it. And the other piece, to be honest with you, I just need to follow directions. This is definitely one of those patterns. If you follow the directions, it's going to come out exactly the way that the designer had intended, and the reason why you fell in love with it. So with this said, this is a Stella cushion pattern, and I was gravitated towards it because it looks like a lovely little quilt in that I'm making with my hands. So I'm enjoying that. She has a tutorial built into the pattern that's unlisted. So when you purchase the pattern, you'll be able to access the tutorial on your computer or whatever device that you're using to interact with the pattern. Uh, this is something that you can use leftover yarn with, both at fingering weight, DK, and even Aran weight, because there are definitely a few projects that use this yarn using Aran weight. And all in all, it's great. I'm using my Expression Fiber Oopsie yarn. So they usually have Expression Fibers is this online hand-dyed yarn company. I discovered this about, I guess, almost 4 years ago. And I used to watch her YouTube channel just for the crochet videos. And as you know, YouTube knows your algorithms. I'm sorry, I just have like this hair picking up and it's distracting me. But anyhow, YouTube knows your algorithms. And it knew that I like crochet. And so it always featured her videos that, focused on crochet. And one random afternoon, I guess I went through all her crochet videos, or all the crochet videos that they thought I would like. And they randomly decided to put into my, I don't know, save for later, not save for later, but, on instant replay, this came up. How to knit faster if you crochet, or something with crochet and knitting faster. I don't remember the exact title of the video, but essentially I clicked on it looking to see how does knitting and crochet mix together. And the way that she did that particular video overview was to explain, like, if you are someone who only crochets, this is how you can basically transition into knitting, and how you can hold your yarn and how you can still engage with it. And the way that she was showing you how to do it was doing it continental style. And so it threw me off a little bit, because when I first learned to knit, which was casting on, I learned to do it English style. So it didn't mesh well as I was hoping. There were some mistakes I made along the way. But overall, that's the video that kind of re-sparked my interest in knitting, and is a reason why I'm sitting here with so much knitting around this room, because I learned so much from her in that particular video, and it really gave me the insight that I needed to know in order to be successful in knitting. So highly recommend her YouTube channel. It's very informative and entertaining and inspiring. I love it. And her yarn is equally beautiful. I have used her yarn for a variety of different projects before, and she had a little sale on her Oopsie yarn, which usually sells, I think, at $21, and I was able to purchase the Oopsie yarn for $18. And so I bought the vanilla Oopsie yarn, and in it has little speckles of pink in it, like bubblegum pink and charcoal, and it looks really pretty. It looks intentional. So I'm like, this was such a score. And it blends so well with this purple yarn. I don't know if they call this purple. It's more like a rose color, but anywho, this is a yarn. I think that it was from that big skein I got from one of my friends who went to Ireland, and the yarn store was going out of business because the owner of the store was retiring. And so my friend saw this yarn and she was like, oh, I know someone who loves to knit. And she got me this huge skein of it. And I've never held such a big skein of yarn. Like, it was massive. It was bigger than those 1 pound of yarn. I don't know if you ever been to those big box stores where they sell like a pound of yarn from Karen or from Liane brand. It was bigger than that. That's how big it was. But anyhow, I have so much left. I think I currently have a little over 300 grams the last time I weighed it. It might be going down because I've been using it in a variety of projects. But anyway, I digress. Those are the two yarns I'm using in this particular version of the Stella cushion. And as soon as I finish this, I plan on making another Stella cushion as well. I have some Liane brand polyester yarn in the color purple that I had initially purchased with the hope of making a purple sweater, because it's the exact shade of purple I always want my sweater to be in. But when I did the swatch for the pattern, I didn't get gauge, and then I didn't like the feel of it. It had like a little plasticky feel, so I tried wet blocking it again using hair condition, and it didn't help alleviate that. So with that said, I'm going to pause on using that particular yarn for a garment, and instead hopefully use it either for another cushion, pin cushion, or use it for a blanket, because that's also something I've been considering doing too. But anywho, that's all that I hear someone outside. But that's all that I have to say about this. This is coming along really well. Since I've been sick, this is what I worked on just to kind of keep myself engaged and not bored. Because it can be a little boring sometimes when you're sick. But yeah, it's coming along pretty well. And hopefully I'll have this finished within the next, I don't know, sorry. I don't know, probably about a couple of weeks. I'm taking my time with this. I'm taking my time with all of my projects. I'm not rushing through anything. But that is it about my current works in progress. I have no new cast-ons. Once I finish with one of these three, whether it'll be the socks, the cushion, or the sweater, I will be casting on the Musselburgh hat. I've been eyeing that pattern for a long time, and although I could potentially make the same hat using my knitting machine to go in around, the reason why I chose not to do that, I just want to give it a try just to see what all the hype is about it, because I mean, the pattern has over 20,000 projects, and I've heard nothing but positive things about people's knitting experience with it. So I want to give it a whirl, and I thought could be my next mindless knit. So as soon as I finish my socks or the Stella cushion or sweater number 15, I will be casting it on. I don't want too many projects on my needles, although I do like to have something that I can bring with me. Like, for example, I have to take my sons to the movies tomorrow, and I definitely will need a project to work on. There's no way. So maybe I'll either bring the Musselburgh or bring, I bought a headband pattern from Petite Knit, and so maybe I might bring that one. I don't know. One of those, something will have to be purchased or bought with me. But other than that, there's nothing else to share. I did not have any did I share on my acquisitions? I believe so. There aren't any. I'm lying. There's one acquisition that I did make in the last time I filmed, and it's for a pattern. I got this little basket about a year ago when I was at Target, and I have been. Anywho, so I have this, all the yarn I'm considering for the project in this basket, so that way I can do a gauge swatch. I really want to do Veronica Lindbergh's Dirty Caramel sweater. It's a beautiful all-over colorwork sweater, except for the bottom half of the sweater, but it has colorwork on the sleeves, on the yoke. I think it would be something that I would really love. It uses mohair. It uses so many different colors, and the color that she does, the main color that she uses is like the just ginger color. So I decided that I'm going to use this yarn in order to make it. So I'm going to do a swatch holding this yarn and a few others in here. And the reason why I'm hesitant about it is because I have another sweater pattern with a similar color yarn that I want to, ooh, that feels so nice. With a similar color yarn that I want to do, but I'm like, oh, can I have two sweaters that are colorwork in the same color? So I was like giving myself a hard time about that, but yes, of course you can. So that's a super reason not to, at least in my mind. I don't want that to be the reason why I don't want to do either patterns, because both of them are ones that I've been gravitated towards, and I really love the colors, the way that the color plays in both patterns. So I'm just going to do it and enjoy myself. And with the other pattern, there is at no point in time will I be casting that on. It's a you hold two strands. You're like, what pattern are you talking about? Hogan Locatelli's Ready for Fall pattern. Oh, what is it? Insta Crush. It is it's mohair, and 100% mohair. You hold two strands of it together, and you do a series of colorwork design holding two strands of mohair. Now, I've never made just a single mohair sweater before, so I don't think I'm quite ready for that yet. I'm getting closer. So what my hope is that I will do the Dirty Caramel holding this, and then once this is successfully done, then do I have two potential mohair sweaters I have on my queue, I have the Stockholm sweater, and I also have the Cloud sweater by Veronica Lambert. So the Stockholm sweater is a petite knit pattern, and the version that I would be doing would be the V-neck one. I really like the folded over collar with that, and I love V-neck sweaters because it doesn't touch on the sensitive part of my neck, and I think it will look really nice on me. So, and I have tons of mohair that I would love to use in that particular pattern. So my plan is to do the dirty caramel first, go ahead and do a swatch with these different colors to see which ones I like the most. I'm considering doing some leftover yarn that I had in my collection because the color work only takes between 50 to 60 grams of yarn, so plenty of it. So I have this yarn that's been just sitting in my collection. So I'm like, you know what, use it. So that's what's in the basket. So my plan is to do the dirty caramel with this, and then do the Stockholm sweater because that's the one I'm leaning towards the most because I really want that V-neck, and then do the Insta Crush sweater. That's going to be a long ways off. So I figure if I can successfully do my Insta Crush, I can do my ultimate colorwork sweater, which I'm going to talk more about later on. So I definitely have some plans in place, and I'm glad that I'm going at this really nice pace because I'm really, like I said before, I've been enjoying the process of knitting more than the product of it, and that's okay. It's been a lot of fun. I can honestly say I've been having a really good time just to see like what my hands are doing, trying different techniques, and just it's been fun. I can't know how to describe it. I'm wearing today one of my knitted socks. I haven't been wearing did I wear anything, my knitted objects? Yes, that's not true. I wore my scarf today that I knitted. So that's probably why I feel mohair, because that scarf has some mohair on it. All right, so that is all about my works in progress, as well as potential cast-ons in the future. I wanted to leave you with just like some updates and things that are happening. I'm excited about an event that I am hosting with the African Meeting House. I will be on February 28th. I will be with my students and other AP African American Studies teachers celebrating the launch of the course, as well as the launch of the AP edition of Freedom on My Mind, which is the book I co-authored. And so I'm hoping that my co-author will be there with me as we celebrate and promote the book. So I'm really excited about that. In addition to that, on February 28th, I just found out that I'm going to have the opportunity to do a fellowship with the Department of Ed here in Massachusetts, as well as another fellowship with MIT. So both of those came in my email today. So I'm like, oh my gosh, what wonderful news. So super excited about these new opportunities for myself as a professional educator. And then with all the different things happening in the news and some of the frustrations that I've experienced hearing the different things happening in the news, it can be a little disheartening, but I always encourage people to learn the information. So like with my AP Government and Politics class, one thing that we've been doing, rather than allowing others to tell us our understanding about the different executive orders that have been passed by the Trump administration, I have encouraged my students instead to read the executive order that is of interest to them. And there's so many, and I encourage them, like, pick one that really stands out to you, or more than one, and we're just going to track it. And so we are going to follow to see how well this particular order is being received by the general public. We're also going to see what new legislation, both at the local, state, and federal level, that's going to come out due to these executive orders. And then finally, we're going to evaluate public opinion about it as well, to see was there strong support in the beginning? Once it started to happen, did it reduce, or was it still heightened? And the other piece I want them to do, and this is an idea that just came to mind, is also to evaluate the role of the media. When this course was initially launched, I don't think it was really something that we foresaw how influential social media was going to be. And when I say launched, I mean launched at the school that I work at. And so it's really exciting to engage in this analysis with my students to help them understand the influence that social media can have on certain public policies and some of the decisions made by various presidents of the United States. So they're going to have that opportunity too. So it's been really exciting to see those different versions of it. And then finally, today marks the day that the textbook that I co-authored is officially on sale. Pre-sales were happening prior to that, and today is now official, where people can go and purchase and get their physical copy. The books are heading to the warehouse now and getting ready to be shipped out. And by the time I film the next episode, I should actually have a copy of the book with me, which I would like to share with all of you as well. I'm really excited about this opportunity and sharing this with everyone. And so that's what's happening professionally. And in terms of personally, or what I've been listening to, I haven't been watching anything. Like, zero television has been happening. I did watch one movie, Craven, with my sons and husband. It was really good. I think I enjoyed it for different reasons than they did, but that's another story for another day. If you know, you know. But in addition to watching the movie Craven, I have been listening to quite a few audiobooks, so many in fact that I don't even remember the name of them, but they've been so entertaining. One of my favorite audiobooks that I can't find, oh, there it is. I was like, where's my phone? Here it is. When it, like, I have to share this. Where is it? Yeah, I bet it has been spiking. Where is it? Oh, so the audiobook that I finished in one day, like, I just could not stop listening to it. Like, everywhere I went in the house, I was wearing these headphones because I wanted to listen to it. But the audiobook is called, or the book is called Close Knit. And it's written by Jenny Colgan, Colgan. And in the book, it centers around one of the main characters who is a knitter. And she has a little knitting circle, and they talk about different aspects of it. And so knitting is incorporated in almost every single chapter of the book. So it's really, really amazing. Another book that I listened to and it was instantly over because I couldn't put it down was called Here One Moment. This book, I just love Liane. I think that's how you pronounce her name, Liane Moriarty. It's always, like, I've always found her books to be really engaging and hard to put down. So those are the two books I've listened on recent in this past week. I'm currently listening to another thriller by Karen Slaughter. She's one of my favorite thriller writers, and so every book that she comes out with, I'm like, I am listening to. And I think one of the reasons why I'm so attracted to her as an author, or her stories, I should say, is because sometimes they're centered in Georgia. And although these horrific things that happen, it still makes me feel a little closer to home. Speaking of which, so in addition to listening to audiobooks, I have also been listening to podcasts. And a new podcast I wanted to put you all on that I hope you will give your time to. It's called Two Sisters Talking Shit. It is hilarious. These two beautiful Black women located in Atlanta, Georgia, are doing their thing. They are celebrating our community of knitting and fiber arts. They are talking about different projects that they're working on, giving you ideas and inspirations, things to talk about. And so I highly encourage, if you are looking for a good time, for a good 30 to 45 minutes, I would highly encourage you to check out Two Sisters Talking Shit. It is definitely something I look forward to every time one of their episodes pop up. I still listen to my other go-tos like Needles at the Ready as well, but I would definitely highly recommend that one as well. So that is it. Thank you for joining me for this quick episode, just to catch you up on my whips. Just to recap, I shared with you about my progress on my sweater number 15. You watch me frog the arm, and we all know the importance of frogging because it can definitely help us to lead to beautiful garments. I am working on the pair of socks, that the name of it, I still can't remember after 30 minutes of talking, still can't remember, but it's a sock pattern I pulled out of the Sock Project by Summer Lee. And again, the name of the actual pattern will be located in the description, and hopefully I was fancy enough and able to put it on the screen. And then finally, the other works in progress that I'm doing right now that's located in my yarn and whiskey bag is the Laura Penrose's Stella cushion. So I hope you check out all three patterns. Highly recommend them. Very engaging. The only reason why I'm not finished is because I'm just taking my sweet old time. So With all that said, thank you so much for joining me, and I hope that you are enjoying something warm and cozy to knit on, sit with, and all that other jazz that I don't even know what words are coming out of my mouth, so I'm going to stop talking. Thank you so much for tuning in. See you at the next Friday Night Knits.